Hi everyone, I'm Sasha Boxall and I run a business called Sasha Boxall Interiors. I thought I'd pop on today as I've had a few comments on my Roman blind tutorials asking how to attach the lining to the Roman blinds. So I'm going to show you this morning. Right, okay, so first of all it's important to make sure that you've pressed your linings. I've got quite a big Roman blind on the work table this morning. So you can see here, what I've done is I've made sure that I've pressed it nice and flat, made sure that all of my pockets are pressed as well, nice and flat. Okay, so the next thing that I need to do is I need to attach this onto the main fabric. So what I've done initially is I've laid the lining on top of the fabric. Usually I have a 2.5 centimetre gap from the lining over to the edge of the main fabric where it's folded over. As you can see, there's all my stab stitches and my interlining is in here as well. But because this is a silk Roman blind, I've decided to make sure the lining can come as far over as possible to try and protect the silk from the sun when it's up against the window. This is going to be fitted on the outside of the window and not in the recess, but I do think it's quite important to try and alleviate the sun damage, UV damage, by extending the lining a little bit more than usual. So the way that you just do that when it comes to making up the linings is you just add on extra on the width. So if the finished width of the Roman blind was 2 meters, you would cut your lining at the 2 meters plus a couple of extra centimeters either side, so maybe 204 centimeters. And then when you turn it in and fold in the seam allowances there, it would come up to about, this is just approximately about 1 centimetre from the edge of the finished blind, as you can see there. The thing that you need to do is you need to mark out the pocket spacings. So what I've done here is at the bottom of the Roman blind here, so this is the bottom edge of my Roman blind, I've popped a pin at the bottom where the bottom of my blind is. And then what I've done is I've popped another pin where my first pocket position needs to be. Now this blind is going to be a cascade blind or a waterfall blind, so the distance between each spacings and each pocket is going to be slightly different. So for example on this one I've got 26.5, 45 and 37. So what I've done is like I said, I've put a pin at the bottom on my bottom edge of my blind. I've then marked up 26.5 with a pin and then put another one at 45 and another one at 37. So the next thing I need to do is position my pocket, so the stitch line of my pocket and the bottom of my Roman blind lining. And just so that you know, this little pocket here is my weight bar pocket. I'm going to do a video of that later on to show you how to do that. It just holds the weight bar in a lot more secure. But this would be, if this was your standard lining, you would have the bottom raw edge of your lining would be now positioned here, and then you would just pin this all the way along and pop the pins in. If this was a black outlined blind, you might want to use paper clips, giant paper clips, so that you don't make holes all the way through your blind. So you just carry on that all the way up and all the way along. So as you can see, I've pinned my lining to the main fabric all the way up. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is hand sew this in position. So this is a silk fabric, so I'm using a silk thread, as you can see. Top tip is, which I think is really useful to know, I tried to find some matching silk thread for this fabric over the weekend and couldn't find any anywhere. And although I can buy it trade, it meant I had to put quite a big order in to be able to get the colour that I wanted. So a really good tip is, I'll shake you over here. This is just the bottom of the blind that I cut off to make sure that my bottom edge was straight. So as you can see, lots of silk threads have been pulled off, so you get a nice long length of silk thread. So you can just use that to stitch along on your blind, to do your stab stitching, to Just as you can see here, I've stitched my herringbone on, and then obviously to do your ladder stitch up here. Right, the next thing that you need to do is you need to secure the lining to the main fabric. To do this, I use a ladder stitch. So the ladder stitch, you start off at the bottom of the blind using a securing stick, so secure your and not your thread on, and then you put your needle along the edge of the lining, and then you go directly straight under into the main fabric and along again, similar stitch length. So I'm doing about 1 centimetre here. So then again, as you can see, look, directly into the lining and along, and then it comes out, and then just into the main fabric. So it doesn't go through to the other side, just in and along the main fabric. And then you just repeat this all the way up to the top of the blind where the finished top of the blind will be. So not the raw edge, so where your top of the blind would be. Okay, well that concludes the video on how to attach the lining to the main fabric. I hope it's been helpful. Any questions, please feel free to write in the comments and I'll come back to you as soon as I can. Like I did say, I will get round to posting a video on how to make the bottom bar pocket on the lining. But until then, thanks for watching. Any further information, please feel free to go and have a look on my website, sashaboxall.co.uk, or on my Instagram and Facebook feeds, which are Sasha Boxall Interiors. So thanks again, take care, have a great week.